Hello people, this is Sean Brackett here to explain to you how to use Spaces for Mac OS 10.6. Hopefully this will be a good tutorial for you to understand what Spaces is, what it can do, and how it can improve your life on your Mac. So let's get started. First off, I want to explain that this video will be following every action of my mouse so that you can see how to do this, as well as hearing my explanation of the feature. When I click, there will be a green halo that expands outward from the mouse itself, so just so you know what that is. First off, a little bit of discussion about the problem. If you're using a MacBook or a MacBook Pro, you probably have between a 13-inch to a 17-inch screen. That means you're pretty limited in how much space you have to be able to use and view all of the windows that you need on a daily basis. Right now, for example, I have 5 windows open. My first one on the left here is my resume, because I'm looking to update that. My second window is Safari, because I'm looking at applying to something. My third window is iTunes, because normally I listen to music when I do things. My fourth window is Tweety, because I'm on Twitter. And my fifth window is me downloading Adobe Illustrator. So I've got a lot going on right now. It's very difficult to tell what is going on in any individual window. And although it may be normal for people these days to multitask in everything we do at every moment of our lives, it's not very efficient, and I think it adds to our stress because our minds are constantly trying to deal with a lot of stimuli at one time rather than being able to focus on one thing. And Mac OS 10, I believe this feature started in Leopard at 10.5, but it continued in 10.6. It's called Spaces. And this allows you to essentially multiply how many desktops you have. Before this feature was introduced, you had one, and you could flip through your different applications using another feature that I'll explain in a bit, and it's called Exposé, but you were very limited, as you see right now. Let me show you exactly what Spaces is. Spaces allows you to create multiple desktops that you can assign multiple applications to, or just one application depending on how you want to use something. Now in my dock here, it's kind of like the Windows taskbar, at the bottom you'll notice that there is the icon for Spaces, and by default this doesn't appear here, but I can tell you how to do that in a little bit. So I just click on that, and what will happen is it zooms out from all of the applications and from our regular desktop into all 6 desktops or spaces that I've created beforehand. And you'll notice that if I click on this bottom space, it will zoom into that, and all of a sudden I just have a blank slate essentially. I can click back on the Spaces icon in the dock, and it will bring me back to this zoomed out state. The nice thing about Spaces is that while I'm in this global view, I can move the windows into their proper space that I want to assign them to, or just to clean everything up. So let's bring my Word window to this corner. Let's bring iTunes over to the right side, and let's bring Tweety over to the left. And this window right here in the middle, where I have my Illustrator download along with Student Affairs at Sea application up, they're not interfering a whole great deal, so I'm going to leave them there. So let's go back to our main area, main space. And you'll notice that this is a lot easier to deal with. If I'm in Safari, I can open a new tab like I would. I can go to CNN or what other website, as long as my MacBook doesn't freak out like it just did there. And I can continue on with my day. Now that I've moved everything to Spaces, how do I know how to get to each space? Well, I can always use this trick by clicking on the Spaces icon. And then I can click on that space, and it's a lot cleaner. I can go back to Spaces, I can go down to my Word window and begin editing that again. But that's not very efficient, so we can do something very simple. When I'm in any space, I hit F8, that's your function key up at the top of your keyboard. Now, if you're using a laptop, you'll need to press the FN button in the lower left corner before doing this. What this does is automatically zoom you out. The other thing that you can do is hit your Apple key. It's also called your Command key. It's right to the left of your spacebar. It has the Apple icon and the little curlicue. And then while holding that down, press the Tab button. And this will show you all of the different applications that are open. So I have Safari, Word, Tweety, the video program that I'm using to record this, iTunes, and Finder. Now, if I'm in Safari right now, it'll show up on the left. The application that you're using is always on the left, and then the next most recent application is to the right, and then so on and so forth. So let's say I want to go to my Word. When that little box is over the Word icon, I let go of the Command button, and it switches. And this is a setting within Spaces that I will show you how to change in just a bit. But it automatically changes the space to focus on the application that I've selected. Let's say I need to go to Tweety. I can do the same thing, and it will scroll up. And you'll notice that when I do that, it will automatically follow the window that I want to go to, and it will also show you a little graphical representation of the space that you're moving to. It's in the center lower portion of the screen. So let's say I want to go to Safari again, and it will show that icon moving over into the space that we've used. So now that I've shown you how to do this, let me show you how to actually engage it. So you'll want to open System Preferences, and this icon is in your dock by default when you first buy the computer, because this is how you change everything in your computer. You'll want to go to Expose and Spaces and click on it once. Okay. Make sure that you clicked on the spaces so that it's selected. And depending on how your computer is configured, this little checkbox where it says Enable Spaces might not be checkmarked. You want to make sure that that has a check mark in it. And then you'll notice that you can change how many spaces that you have. I can add a row, I can add up to 12, I believe, and then if I add another column, I can have up to 16 spaces. For me, I did not need this many spaces. So I'm just going to stick with my original configuration where I have 6 spaces total. Change that however you need. In order to keep track of which space I'm in, I like to keep this check marked, because you'll notice up at the top it shows me that I'm in space number 6. In the center part of the window, you'll notice that you can assign certain applications to certain spaces, so that when you open them the first time, they will automatically appear just in that space. And that's really nice because it keeps things organized without you having to remember to drag a window to a certain space. Now, you may be using iTunes a lot, and you may have it minimized a lot, and so you want it to appear in every single space because it's most helpful to you. Well, you can do that if you click this button and click every space. I choose not to do that because I am often fiddling with iTunes, but that may help you if you want to do that. Also, this is what I was talking about with the F8 to activate spaces. To switch between spaces, I don't have a shortcut set. That's because I use Expose, which is kind of a twin feature. They work together really, really well. Anything that I want, I can switch windows with the application switching, which is a sub part of Expose. The other thing, that if I press F8, I'm shown every single space, so all 6 of mine. The nice thing about that is that that gives me a global view. Now, if I want to see my desktop without any windows, but just this particular desktop, all I have to do is press F12. And so what that will do is that will move everything to the side, like right now. Whoops. Apparently I'm having some technical issues. Well, normally it works. Alright, so that's Expose, and that's also Spaces. The nice thing about this is that it really helps you clean up things. I really love it, and hopefully this video has shown you the benefits of using Spaces. If you have any questions, please let me know, and thank you for your time.